Welcome to Bias Bash. I'm Lauren Green. Two key Democrats have joined Republicans in opposing President Obama's deal to limit Iran's nuclear program. New York Senator Chuck Schumer, arguably the most influential Jewish lawmaker in Congress, and Representative Engel, also of New York, announced they would vote against the deal. Will other Democrats still on the fence about the deal follow suit? Well, here with analysis is Judy Miller, Pulitzer Prize-winning investigative reporter and a Fox News contributor. Welcome, Judy.
Hi, Lauren.
So, what do you think of Chuck Schumer and Engel saying no to this deal?
I think the big surprise is Chuck Schumer.
Really?
Yes, no one kind of expected that. He was on the fence. He kept his own counsel. He said he was studying the proposal. Chuck Schumer wants to be the leader of Senate Democrats, and he has just made that goal a little bit more complicated by siding openly and early against the administration's legacy piece of foreign policy, which is this Iran deal. This is something that the president felt so strongly about that he gave an hour-long speech that was very divisive.
Right.
And
I want to talk about that speech a little bit later.
But Chuck Schumer knew that this was something that he had to toe the party line on, and basically he said, I'm up for re-election next year, even though I have all the money that I need. He's a huge fundraiser, prodigious fundraiser. Despite that, given the pressure largely led by Jewish Americans in New York, AIPAC, the Jewish federations, he went the other way.
You almost, I felt sorry, I mean, I didn't feel sorry for him, but one of the questions is, I mean, this is somebody, I thought this last night too as well, do you think that the Democrats sort of checked the numbers, did the math, and said, we don't need your vote, it's okay to do this so that you appease your constituents?
Well, that's one theory of what happened. The other is that Schumer just decided that he personally, in terms of his own personal agenda and his constituents and responsiveness to his constituents, couldn't, quote, betray the people who have backed him for so long. I don't know which is which because I haven't had a chance to interview him yet myself, and even if I did, I'm not sure he would tell me the real reason. But make no mistake about it, this is a huge defection for the Democrats, and I know that the White House is counting heads because they need that 2/3 majority to sustain what is likely to be a presidential veto of the Congress's rejection of this deal. So it's understandable that Engel would go, come out in dissent against the deal. But Schumer is the big surprise.
And he also said he would vote to unveto the president's veto. I mean, he voted against the veto.
Right. Engel, let me tell you what's interesting about Schumer is that he's tried to have a kind of split decision. On one hand, he said he was going to vote against the deal. On the other hand, he said he wouldn't lobby his colleagues to join him in his dissension.
Okay.
Now that's kind of Solomonic, and it's not going to please anyone. It's going to make people, if anything, even angrier at Chuck Schumer than they already are.
That's right. My colleagues.
This is a personal vote, and it could be that he's done the head counting and has decided that his own vote won't matter. But it will be used, make no mistake about it, by the critics of this deal as fodder, because he is such an influential voice on foreign policy.
You talked about President Obama's speech yesterday at American University, and I want your opinion on what it sounded like to you, because it sounded like to me that there was a lot of scolding, demeaning, and insulting of the intelligence of the Republican Party. And why risk alienating people that you really do need to get on your side?
Absolutely, Lauren, but it's so vintage Obama. He is very divisive when it comes to moments like this. But beyond that, and I speak here as someone who is reluctantly, tentatively leaning towards supporting the deal. I have written about it as all things considered, a kind of better than the even worse alternatives kind of proposition. But I must say, even I was taken back and kind of struck by the president's speech, by the combativeness of it.
This was his time to
bring people together and to persuade. And what he did is alienate the Democrats who voted for the war in Iraq by saying, you know, if you're not with me on that, I'm going to remind you of all the bad votes you cast that led us into this war. I mean, he almost pushed those Democrats, and that includes Hillary Clinton, by the way, who has been quasi-supportive of the deal, into the kind of Republican camp and created as enemies everybody who disagrees with him on this front. I think what his thinking was, the Republicans are gone anyway. I'm going to remind the country that they were the ones who led us into the disastrous war in Iraq. But in so doing, he has further divided, I think, the Democratic Party. And it's absolutely vintage Obama.
Very interesting stuff. Thank you very much, Judy Miller.
Thank you.
If you want to hear more media analysis on this topic, catch Media Buzz with Howard Kurtz, Sundays at 11 a.m. Eastern, and again at 5 p.m. Eastern on the Fox News Channel. I'm Lauren Green, and thanks for watching.